Hello, Cindy here. Happy Monday. I'm super excited to be sharing with you something that's so important around dating and relationships, your love life, essentially. This is something that I see altogether too often, especially when it comes to today's dating. A lot of times people are meeting online, you might be meeting out and about, and we can oftentimes get invested quicker than we should. So let me explain that to you a little bit. So you might meet somebody, they seem like you've got a connection, they're liking you, you're liking them. They start moving things forward, and in your mind, you're creating a real relationship where it's not quite there yet. So that's the importance of pacing. How many times have you been in a situation, let me ask you this, that, you met someone, they seemed really great, you're texting all the time, you're talking on the phone, he's asking to see you a lot. And, maybe in the beginning you're a little bit resistant to that, but it feels good. So you go along with it and get caught up in what I would like to call the hormonal haze. And the hormonal haze is dangerous because we can actually convince our minds that something is going on that isn't. And the other thing too is we start to forget our true values when we're in the hormonal haze, so to speak. We start to forget, what is it that I'm really desiring? What am I committed to creating in my life? What am I committed to relationship-wise? We can sometimes set that aside. Let's just say, for example, you're really serious about meeting the right person, and you want marriage in your life. And the person you meet, while they're really open to relationship, but they don't believe in marriage. And there's some other things that are misaligned. And what can happen oftentimes is we can start to make excuses because, gosh, he seems so great, and there's all these other things. So let me get to the pacing and why that's so important. I'm going to give you 3 steps to pace early on, especially, and also let you in on a secret around how pacing is really, really effective in long-term relationships. And quite frankly, if you don't get anything more out of this, pacing will actually help you to create a longer term, more significant relationship because you're building a foundation around that. And let me share what that looks like. So pacing is slowing things down more so than you may want to, than he may want to. So a couple reasons why women have a hard time pacing, especially if the guy is trying to spend a lot of time with you. One, women have a hard time pacing because a lot of women, not all, will have people-pleasing conversation. Oh, I don't want to upset him, or if I don't spend time with him, maybe he won't want to see me anymore. Which, if he does that, then he's not the kind of guy you want to date in the first place. He really, really isn't. He might be showing something great, but he's not the kind of guy you want to date. Most of the time they don't. And a lot of times women, because we like everybody to be happy all the time, we have that nurturing mentality. So if he fights it a little bit, or tries to push you or convince you into spending more time when you're setting a boundary, then he's going to be fine. That's actually part of the challenge, and it builds what I call tension. Men like the tension. Women like the tension. We can actually feel tension when we're getting involved with someone. And I'd be curious if you guys know what I mean by tension. Sorry. So if you know what I mean by tension, just put yes, I've experienced that. It's, you know, it's something that happens when, you know, the two of you are interested in each other, and quite frankly, you're not giving them everything they want. It's kind of like, I'm going to give you a quick example. I learned this this methodology quite a while ago, and I love it. I actually have my clients practice this when I want them to practice pacing when it's hard for them, because, you know, we live in a society where we want what we want when we want it. So there's this mentality, I call it the chocolate bar mentality. But, you know, think, for example, of getting something that you really, really love. You know, for me, it would be chocolate covered almonds of some sort, probably. You know, it could be, you know, your favorite bottle of wine, or it could be chocolate. It could be a favorite dessert of yours, a treat, you know, it could even be a favorite lotion or perfume. What you want to do is then put that item on a table or someplace where it's out all the time, and go by it. You can touch it, you can smell it, excuse me, you can look at it, but you can't eat it, drink it, ingest it, whatever, you know, whatever this is. And what that does is it helps with that discipline. It helps with, you know, and you keep it there for 30 days, so to speak, and then you can have the treat, you know, you eat the chocolate bar or whatever, or for as long as you can. So this is the same thing when it comes to pacing. A lot of times, you know, men and women do too, but, you know, men, if he's in the pursuer mode, will be asking to spend a lot of time. What you want to do is build up to more time. So, you know, in the beginning, first, second, third dates, one, you know, your first date, you don't need to spend 6 or 7 hours with them. Maybe, and depending on how you meet, if it's a first meeting, I would say an hour max. You know, after that, you know, a few hours. And doing activities together that are out of the house, that are going to keep you from intimacy. The thing about this stage in relationship is the fact that, one, you're getting to know each other, you're getting to know each other's values, and you want to make sure that you're asking questions. You know, what are you looking for? What's important to you? Where are you at in your life? You know, maybe they're in a place where they share the same values as you, and their vision is a little bit, you know, maybe a little bit further out than yours. So you get to look at that, or is that okay with you? And is that worth getting to know the person? Probably. And so pacing is, you know, you don't want to spend every night of the week, maybe a couple times a week in getting to know them, and then moving upward and onward from there. This is also really important. The first 90 days, I think, take it or leave it, because it takes about, I was talking about this more on Friday too, it takes about 3 months to really get to know patterns in someone's behavior, someone's personality, who they are. Also, if you ask them questions in the beginning about their values, you're not going to be surprised. So if you guys are in a similar spot, awesome, continue to get to know him, but pace him. Don't see him every time he wants to see you. Do not drop everything. Also, this is really important too. It's like we can get into this place where we're starting to move in a direction together. And, maybe you're staying over at his house all the time, or he's staying at yours. And, the next thing you know, you decide to give up your apartment or your house to move in with him, and you're saving money, but he's not moving forward in the commitment aspect. So if we're not pacing things and we're not, checking in to make sure we're on the same page, then that's going to end up really hurting you. So I'm going to give you 3 things to do when it comes to pacing. The first thing is you want to make sure on the first couple dates, not like you're interviewing them, but you're getting to know them, who they are, what's important to them, why it's important to them. And, feel how you feel in your body. You might be feeling that excitement. He might be feeling the excitement. Also, continue dating other people in the beginning. This is an important piece so that you can have an easier time pacing it. A month in, a month and a half in, you know the person, you're scratching the surface, but you don't really know the person unless you were thrust into a situation together where you're spending a lot of time and you might both be, real vulnerable. That can be a different story. However, you still want to pace and get to know someone. Getting to know someone is so important. And you're going to also see things about them, about their personality. Does this work for me? Give it the space, because as women, we become in love with the idea of being in love, and it may seem like he's really into it in the beginning. He's also hopped up on the hormones too, and it's exciting for him. He has a letdown. The more time that you spend with him, the more you say yes, 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 and you're always with him, the harder that letdown is when he decides, I'm off full, I'm good for a few days or a week or whatever. And as women, that can really hurt us. So 1, don't spend all the time that you want, that he's asking you to spend. Also, let him work for you. This is a really important piece that gets lost in, women, women being so empowered today. And I love that. However, men are hunters by nature. They like to chase. They like to hunt. They like to overcome. They also like to know that they don't necessarily have you. And they also like to know, okay, I think she likes me. She's interested. I'm going to continue pursuing her. But you're not 100% in. You guys, you're not 100% in. I think that piece, excuse me, right there is, he gets to work for your heart. Second thing, so you're not spending all the time with him. You're letting him pursue you. That means he's calling you most of the time. And I'm speaking generalities. If I was working with you as a client, it would depend on your personality. It would depend on your past patterns. I may actually say, you don't call the guy at all. Let him call you, and also be a little bit vulnerable around that piece as to why it's important, because we can, as women, and just people in general, but women, we can get in this place where we want to control things. And what's really going on is there's a fear in the back of our head is that, if I don't call him and make the plans, he's not going to call me. However, that starts to loosen up the tension, and it it also messes with the pace. So let him lead. Let him be the one that's doing a little bit more work to connect with you, to be with you than you. Let him do that. So that's second. Third, don't get too intimate. Don't get intimate too soon. I don't recommend that at all. You know, I've said wait 90 days. I've interviewed men and talked to men in the past about that. This is what the overall has been. If she has sex with me too soon, I'm wondering how many other guys she does that with. I start to get curious about, about that piece, and that's not all men. Sometimes they don't necessarily feel that way. And, a lot of people will say, well, I slept with him on the third date or the fifth date. I really don't recommend that. Don't put yourself in positions where you're doing that, because you're going to get overtaken by the hormonal haze, and then it's going to start to fool you into thinking that this relationship is someplace that it's not. And different people move at different paces in relationship. Typically, women become a little bit more committed quicker than men do. Even if he's trying to spend a lot of time with you, he might just be liking it because it's a drug for him. And then he needs to have some space. Also, this is the third thing. Don't give up your life for him. Don't cancel your plans. Pace things. Maybe you've had a 10-day trip planned, and not that you're, obviously you're going to go, but a lot of times women get all caught up with, I'm just getting to know this guy. I need to spend as much time with him as I can before I go on the trip. Actually, no, you don't. Because people that are busy in their life are, they have other things going on. You just met this guy. Don't invest all your time, and also trust that if you have a great connection with him, he's feeling the same way, and he'll be there once you return. So taking it slow and not creating a story, creating a relationship, or creating a label that this is the greatest guy on the planet or this is the kind of guy I want because he's saying all the right things, the things I think I want to hear. That's why that 90 days is really important. Also, leaning back when it comes to intimacy. Some women can handle it easier than others, but many women get caught up in that imagination space, or they cut everything else out because they're all in a hormonal haze with one person. And don't assume that you're the only one that he's seeing. I mean, if you're spending a lot of time together, you probably are. But I mean, the bottom line is that you building up, it's like, I talk about this a lot. It's like being on a roller coaster, right? It's like that tick, 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 tick. It's like building blocks. And a great foundation is the building blocks to success in a long-term relationship. There is always a letdown in different phases of the relationship. So as you're getting to know someone, there's usually a point in time around the 1.5 to 3 month mark. So the 1.5, 3 month mark, what happens is there's usually a little bit of a letdown. The guy might be in a place where he's reevaluating, is this what I really want? Can I really make her happy moving forward? Where do we want to go from here? It's not a bad thing. And it's also, we're taking off our masks at that point in time. Also, pacing works as a self-protection. Pacing works as a self-protection. It's preservation for your heart. Not that we don't want to take chances. However, you want to be thinking, okay, who is this guy? Is he showing up for me? That's why getting to know multiple people at once is really helpful. So know that he is not as committed. I mean, in some cases where the timing is absolutely perfect and amazing and you end up getting married in 3 months, I've seen it. It's more the exception than the rule. You typically get to learn and grow through getting to know someone. And as women, we can get into this place where we're creating more of a relationship and we want more sooner. So pacing is a really, really, really good thing, you guys. And if it's moving at a slower pace, if it's, if he hasn't brought up certain things, bring up the questions you want answered, but not in an attached way towards him. Bring up, hey, do you still believe in the dream? Zip it. See what he has to say. What are you looking for? Why is that important to you? Listen to what they say, because they'll tell you a lot. And sometimes they send some mixed signals, and typically that's because they're trying to figure themselves out, and they don't want to commit because they want to make sure that they can follow through for you if that's the case. And so I hope this really helps you when it comes to pacing. I'm going to share one more thing when it comes to relationship. Once you're in a relationship, pacing should happen throughout the entire relationship. When you get to the next level of a little bit more seriousness, sorry, my son's at the door. So I'll share this really quick, then I really do get to jump off. So the number one thing is that men will go through this phase where they start to just become more enamored by you again, like you're in the beginning of the relationship. It's up to you to continue to pace that. So doing your own thing, not getting all swept up in the romance, even though the romance is nice. I'm going to share some other things later on in this week. So helping from unhealthy attachments and all that good stuff. But anyways, he's here. I got to get him. I hope this is helpful. Put your questions and comments below, and also share this with a woman that really needs it today. Lots of love. Bye.